This is not clickbait, and this is not hyperbole. And friends, I need you to watch this video, and I need you to share it. Not because of my channel, but because I really believe children's lives are at stake. So California Assembly Bill 495 is making its way through the committees, and they're passing it. And I'm going to show you the details of this bill, but inside this bill it says that a non-guardian and a non-family member can literally go to your child's school, check out your child without your consent, without a background check, without a signature, transport your child without your knowledge, even make medical decisions between your child and doctor without them having to contact and inform you. All the while, the courts are enlarging the definition of perjury and protecting this against any criminal action. You say, what in the world? From a pastor to pastors, if any pastors out there watching this, I challenge you to let your congregation hear me out. And Christians, this is one of the reasons why we fight to have a voice and where we can make change in policy. Welcome to the channel Truth for You, where lies come to die a slow and painful death. And today we get to cast down a lie together and really look at what is going on. What is Assembly Bill 495? Well, the lie starts out, like all lies, seemingly good and protective. In fact, the bill is called the Family Preparedness Plan Act of 2025, authored by Democrat Celeste Rodriguez, who believes the Trump administration is harming children due to illegal immigrant parents being deported and their children being left without guardians. So she authored the bill. But let's take a look, because it does nothing to actually help children. This bill would expand the type of person who is authorized to execute a caregiver's authorization affidavit to include a non-relative extended family member as defined, and grant them the same rights to authorize school-related medical care as defined for the minor that are given to guardians as specified. By expanding who is authorized to sign a caregiver's authorization affidavit for these purposes under penalty of perjury, this bill would expand the crime of perjury, thereby imposing a state-mandated local program. The person who's a guardian now, that's expanded, that definition is expanded, and perjury is now expanded. Don't misunderstand that for enforced. No, this bill would authorize a court in its discretion to appoint a custodial parent and a person nominated by the custodial parent as joint guardians of the person of the minor if the custodial parent will be temporarily unavailable due to specified circumstances, including, among other things, an immigration-related administrative action as specified. So now the court is more in charge of your child. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but the Democrats have already been doing this in other states, and from the federal level, the Biden-Harris administration actually lost track of over 320,000 children coming across the border. And California school systems have already enacted the Child Protective Services to be called on children when the administrator or teacher thinks that the child is not being affirmed by their parents. So this is already happening, but this bill is going to enlarge that. So here's an example of what happened to a poor mother and her daughter. Abigail Martinez is a mother from Southern California who lost her daughter, Yeli Galdamez, because she ended her life in September 2019. Now, Miss Martinez is a devout Christian who immigrated from El Salvador as a teen, yet Yaeli suffered from depression as a young teenager and later identified as transgender. Her school encouraged her to secretly join an LGBTQ group, as it also encouraged her to keep the information from her mother.
She was assigned this girl from the high school, older than her, who used to attend to the LGBTQ club. So that's how my daughter became like confused, telling that people that she was a lesbian, then that she was in the wrong body, that she was a boy, not a girl.
Yaeli was taken from her home by the parent of a transgender student, and after the school officials coached her at the police station, Yaeli was removed from her mom's custody and placed in a group home by the California Department of Child and Family Services.
My daughter was removed from my house 2016. Where did she got all the information about transitioning at school? They changed their name without my permission too. They don't talk to you, they do it, in secret. It's in their agenda.
Imagine this being expanded. Instead of providing the medical care that Yaeli needed for her severe depression, California gave her testosterone and took her away from her mom, the one support she knew she could rely on. After identifying as a male for 3 years, changing her name, and taking cross hormones, Yaeli ended her life at age 19.
Not even talk or pray when I went to visit her. If I break their rules doing that, they told me that 1 hour that I had to visit with my daughter per week, he was gonna go up to 0. So yes, they did all that. And it's not fair. And I'm so happy that churches are waking up and taking, that was one of my prayers. I asked God to take the blindfold from the pastors, the leaders of the church, and stand up.
This is so sad. And this is happening right in front of us. And it's time we be a voice. Let's read more of the actual bill. To healthcare providers and healthcare service plans, when signed by a relative or non-relative extended family member, this affidavit shall confer the same rights to authorized medical care and dental care for the minor that are given to guardians under Section 2353 of the Probate Code. The medical care authorized for a relative or non-relative extended family member caregiver may include mental health treatment subject to the limitations of Section 2356 of the Probate Code. 2. A healthcare service provider who acts in good faith, reliance upon a caregiver's authorization affidavit to provide medical or dental care without actual knowledge of facts contrary to those stated on the affidavit is not subject to criminal liability or civil liability to any person, and is not subject to professional disciplinary action for that reliance if the applicable portions of this form are completed. A parent's signature or seal or signature of the court is not required. No seal, no signature whatsoever. This is insane. Child daycare facilities shall not collect information or documents regarding citizenship or immigration status of pupils or their family members. And finally, Section 2105 of the Probate Code is amended to read, the court in its discretion may appoint for a ward or conservatee 2 or more joint guardians or conservators of the person, 2 or more joint guardians or conservators of the estate, 2 or more joint guardians or conservators of the person and estate. So in conclusion of what AB 495 is, expands who qualifies as a caregiver to include any adult, authorizes the use of caregiver's authorization affidavit by such individuals, allowing them to assume decision-making authority over a child's schooling and medical care without a court appearance, notarization, and without a parental signature, grants caregivers the legal ability to enroll a child in school and authorize medical, dental, and mental health treatments. This includes trait modification procedures. Does not require schools or daycare facilities to verify the identity, relationship, or legitimacy of the adult presenting the caregiver's authorization affidavit, while absolving them of any liability should the child be handed over to a stranger or traffickers. Empowers court's discretion over your child and estate. This is a child trafficker's dream bill. Now listen to Nicole Persons testify before Senate.
Nicole Pearson. I'm a mother of 3, a child of immigrants, and an attorney who spent her career helping immigrants and fighting human trafficking. I am also desperate to help children affected by ICE raids, but AB 495 is not it. We all know this because in 2021, the federal government faced a swell of unaccompanied minors at the border and was desperate to place them quickly. What did they do? They reduced vetting procedures, and as a result, the Department of Homeland Security has lost track of over now 600,000 unaccompanied minors. Despite this, California wants to do something similar, but even worse. With just one sheet of paper from the internet, California wants to let someone that is not related to your child remove her from school, enroll her in any other school in the state, authorize any medical treatment of her, including mental health services and drugs, without the parent's notice and knowledge or consent. This is not fear-mongering. I'm not being hyperbolic. It's stated right here in the caretaker's affidavit that I printed for you, which I pulled directly from the bill. Line 6 allows this transfer of parental rights without even having to speak to the parent.
So what can you do? Let's meet up at the state capitol, August 19th. That's a Tuesday, 1 o'clock at the West Steps. Pastor Jack Hibbs is going to be presenting. This is a peaceful gathering to encourage one another, pray, meet with assembly people, and make a difference. Here's some tips. Carpool. Take friends with you. Get there early. Be ready to pray because Satan's after the children. He's coming to steal, kill, and destroy, as Jesus said in John 10:10. Finally, make your voice heard. For far too long, pastors, churches, congregations have been afraid and hesitant to mention any type of politics in a service or with a sermon. Unchecked policy landed Daniel in the lion's den. And God delivered Daniel. But what I'm asking from leaders and pastors is don't let our children be thrown to the lions. Relying on a miracle when it's in your power and ability to make a difference is not wise. Christ has empowered his church to be the light and salt of the earth. When the righteous are in power, the nation rejoices. But when the wicked are in power, the people groan. And this is what God's word says. Defend the cause of the weak and fatherless. Uphold the rights of the afflicted and oppressed. So how can you make your voice heard? Well, thanks for listening to the video. For one, share it out. Talk to people about this video. Number 2, write, call, email your assembly member. Check out this website, findyourrep.legislature.ca.gov. Just fill in your information there. Click the send button. It's going to show you your representative. Oh, look here. Mine is Josh Hoover. Fun little fact, Josh went to a few years of my Bible study in my home. Together, we can make our voices heard. We can call, email, and gather. Remember, blessed is the nation whose God is Lord. Look what Timothy says. I exhort first of all that all supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings and all who are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and reverence. So let's take courage and do our part to make a peaceful and loving dexterity for our future children.